news that we've seen so far this week. So let's talk about Motocross of the Nations. I'll be completely upfront and transparent. I haven't actually watched the race. I've seen highlights, different highlight clips. I've seen different segments of different motos. I've tracked finishes. I've listened to interviews. I've done basically everything that I would normally do for a race weekend, except actually watch the race. I wasn't going to pay the $40 for it. I haven't tracked it down on the YouTubes yet. So I haven't actually seen the race. So these comments are going to be a little bit more sparse than what they probably should be. But just some thoughts from what I've seen so far. So Team USA, it didn't obviously go great. We finished, I believe it was 8th overall. And that's not to be unexpected, okay? We all know we weren't sending our strongest team. Obviously, Chase changing teams. Tomac was injured there. As far as 250s go, like Deegan didn't go because Chase didn't go. And for everyone out there asking why Deegan didn't go because Chase didn't go. There was a direct correlation there. Deegan's had said they would go if Chase went. Chase opted not to go. Henceforth, Deegan's opted not to go. So that's how that all worked out. But as far as it went for our guys, okay, we were a few bad luck situations away from being on the podium, you know. It didn't go well all weekend. We had RJ, I don't even want to say did RJ things. He hit a slick spot there, bike spun out. It was a weird thing in the qualifying race. And then there were weird crashes and bad starts from our guys basically all day Sunday, which basically ended up costing. I mean, Craig crashed twice, okay? So for Craig to not even get one decent moto, and for anyone who's heated on Craig, and I'll bring this up a little bit more, Craig's been on the bike for like 6 weeks. He hasn't been on the bike that long. So let's just tone back the hate there, and I'll jump into that a little bit more here with my Holster Co. Reload rant. But all in all, I think it went as good as we could have hoped for the team that we sent, okay? I mean, AP was out there doing cowboy things, which was awesome. Craig rode well, just bad luck with the crashes. And RJ, same thing. RJ actually had a pretty decent weekend, you know? So all in all, I will say it's pretty good. Outside of the Team USA situation there, let's see here. Jet finally lost a race on a 450 kind. I mean, he technically lost one last year at MXoN too, so this isn't technically his first loss, but it kind of is since he's been full-time 450. But he still rode well all weekend. For going into a track that he's never been at, okay, which is what a lot of these guys are. First year 450 kid. I would say fairly decent ride. He ended up winning the second moto, the final moto of the day on Sunday. He was second after a crash early on the first lap of the qualifying race. So overall, I would say for what happened, I mean, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. He's obviously right there with all those guys. And again, I think as he develops the bike more and develops more as a 450 rider, he's going to be even more of a force when it comes to this race. So I'm not, and let's not forget too, he's done 3 championships in a row. The MXGP guys have done 1. They've done, shoot, I don't even know. Are they 19 or 21 races now? So they've done 10 races less. Like, and the races they've done have all been outdoor races. They don't do any SMX rounds. They don't do any Supercross. So it's like, I don't know. Everybody in the comments is going to flame me here because they're going to say I'm building in an excuse for Jet. I think it was fine for a one-off race at the end of the year. I mean, it's race 32 for him, essentially. So whatever. Roxon wins the overall in the MXGP class or MXoN, whatever you want to qualify it as, which that was a huge surprise how well Roxon rode for that. I know he's been riding 20s there, obviously multiple 20s for the SMX races, but to see Roxon go out there and ride as well as he did all weekend on that Suzuki was absolutely amazing. So hats off to Kenny there for what he did on the weekend. France just dominated, and this isn't something that no one saw coming. France is very, very good at their home races. They're very, very good at designations, period. End of discussion. No questions asked. They are always good. They always show up for this race. Vial was out to prove a point all weekend. He rode super, super well. Fevre rode absolutely incredible, but that's no surprise either because he, especially late this season here, has been really, really picking up his game. So that whole team, it's just no surprise for them to win this. Okay, like they're really, all in all, there really wasn't a surprise. If there was any surprise at all, and I'm going to throw this way out in left field here for everybody. The surprise of the weekend was that Team Canada failed to make the main event. That was the surprise of the weekend, okay? And that just came down to terrible luck for them. That's all there was to it. It was terrible luck. The crashes after crashes after crashes, couldn't get anything going. And they had probably the best Canadian team that, or pretty close, that they've ever had. Jess Pettis, Dylan Wright, and, I'm forgetting the third one. Sorry to whoever I'm forgetting there. But basically, yeah, best team ever that we've really seen Canada have, especially in recent years, and they failed to make the main. And again, it was just crash after crash after crash. I watched, I was somehow tuned in on some live stream watching the B final, I think, and saw that, saw that they were in it, which surprised me. And then to see, I believe Dylan Wright just ragdolled himself there in that first one, or in the first lap of the B main, and no surprise there. Prado also rode really well this weekend. He was testing stuff, he said, in an interview, and we'll talk some more about some upcoming stuff with Prado here. But again, that's not a surprise. He feels like he could have done better had he rode the stuff he'd been riding all year, but they were doing some testing coming up for 2024, so a little bit interesting there. And that's pretty much all I've got to say about Des Nations there. Like I said, I didn't watch the race. The race doesn't, and I'll get flamed in the comments for this too, it doesn't mean a whole lot to me. It's just kind of like this end of season or off season race that we see everybody kind of show up to. I don't know. It's interesting. And I know people are going to say, well, it means something to you when it's in the U.S. Yes, when it's in the U.S., it means something to me. It means there's another race for me to go to, especially because, like, at least the last 2 times it's been at Redbud, which is an hour from my house. So, yeah, the race means something to me because I'm going to go to the race. But all in all, do I really care if Team USA wins or somebody else? Not especially. So, so that wraps up our Des Nations talk here.